It's also really light.
Yeah.
Well, no, they have a lot of really long.
That's so funny when they lifted that.
What if like a different person?
Better for.
Yes. If the proxy's like the
Mentally
no, a different person. Like if you're really questionable intent.
Impossible agendas. Like they may have their own motive for
people
doing
who
stuff.
are like permanently disabled will find it because
When you kill something, where it is.
I can hear what you said.
Well, they kill 2 more kids.
Can we? Is there like moral stuff?
Neutral stuff? Well, that would describe it what proxy is.
it would like two
HS23 here and I go. This is not good.
Bro, did you see Parker's rocket? It went like literally past the moon. Bro, it hit the moon, I saw.
I don't think this is an
Or you can ask
Can
Parker.
we build off of that?
free stuff. Things we made already.
I guess.
Wow. Why is this so close to better than
Cool. I love this glass, bro.
Like, if you have that, they could want your money.
I'm very self.
You know.
There's not a whole lot to it. Why does it have that? Okay, that's cool. That's not the proxy. Like,
Someone other than a doctor.
just while you're like this 40 chemical.
I jumped so hard yesterday.
Someone other than a doctor.
Sometimes when they shoot little kids,
Starts down here.
They want
Depending on the person, might not be. They most likely have your best interest.
Okay,
Is that our proxy?
if your group having discussed it, I'm going to ask you to come to a decision with this one. Nothing too strange on here, but Lisa, a 40-year-old woman with severe intellectual disabilities, has been living with her now elderly parents. As they age, they're finding it increasingly difficult to care for her and make arrangements for her future care. Her brother, Mark, has been named her legal guardian. Mark needs to decide whether to put Lisa in a special residential care facility or hire in-home caregivers. Lisa's parents are strongly opposed to Lisa living anywhere else. Look at it from what are the ethical considerations. So by that, what system are you using to make this decision? Are you using a utilitarian system? Is this some sort of rights-duty system? Deontology? What are you considering there? What are the legal ramifications? Law and ethics aren't quite the same, although we use the decisions of law often to reflect ethics. Any practical considerations, any cultural and social considerations that you could think of that might complicate this? Okay. In the same group, give you just a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Make a quick or a slow decision.
Not what
I feel like also, if you have in-home caregivers, like a higher chance of race. Because, well, it depends if the caregivers are like there
They'll be like coming in the odd time. And there's a chance they like will forget.
Wildmark has the legal right to do what he wants, like he uses his messages. Like we should also, I think to like Lisa's marginal perspective, like Lisa was probably working with her parents.
But parents will be like, still, like 70, basically, that's just legal rights and like mental hospital.
Is it getting help?
And no, it's right. Lisa was like fully mentally able. And like, she
But your parents will sort of be like,
We don't have to ask like
she got to like say it.
it was cultural, not fun. But also she would get better treatment in care facilities. And it's not like anybody's treatment, it's just their parents and their parents being selfish.
what if they're like
Well, not being selfish, but maybe it's just
Yeah, it was like, why would they want to be there other than?
well, they're biased to keep their kid in the house because it's their parents.
Yeah, because they want to be seeing the kid.
Yeah, there might be like emotional bias. Why don't we both?
So it's
why don't we
selfish.
move from all of but also like
Facts.
if she's like mentally impaired.
Yeah, the parents were like,
Well, she's
Then like go crazy.
Practical, cultural, social.
Under practical includes like children, in-home caregivers, without parents.
I feel like it could be legal because we're like exploring the duties of the caregiver, of the decision
I like it.
makers. They don't have to just be
No, not guardians.
only looking at
Brothers.
physical health. They can look at like the variety.
Actually, yeah. I think the doctor.
Wait, so we need to have one for all? Because like, you know how our parents are old and they're, it's like,
Oh,
because I think we need to have one for all.
From before when I existed.
like better care.
That's okay. Stepping back, very on the couch. First of all, which decision did you make?
We think it would be better if we had the in-home caregivers.
Where? Which one?
In-home.
In home. Okay. So we got one for in home, and give me one of your considerations.
We thought it's more practical if Lisa can make a decision and we also need to like see the economic crisis, right? But if Lisa is gonna be fine with in-home caregivers and if parents want to see Lisa, I think if they're solely gonna be the same, either we put her in a residential care or in home caregivers, I think the
Higher.
decision in home caregivers is a more strong
Practical.
one, yeah, it's more practical.
More practical. Okay. I like the
We
speaker.
think that we would probably get the doctor's advice on what to do and then like.
Oh no. This is the doctor's advice.
Oh.
Yeah. Like here's your options. The doctor, you've gone through it with the doctor. Now you're the proxy decision maker. Your group has to decide.
Okay, we would probably like take the parents' advice into account and then decide from there, depending on what they would want. So probably keep them at home.
Any points you discovered with that? Ethical considerations, legal, practical, cultural, social. Give me one.
I guess they're closer to family, so that might make them happier. And also, yeah. Also, the family's happy too, that they get to stay with their child.
Well, if you say happy, I'm going to say that's coming closer then to social. You're considering the social aspect of that. Okay, we'll move up one. What was your decision?
We thought that like, well, would there be a way to like move the parents and the kid into the same facility?
Oh, hey, okay. Specialized care facility, all of them.
Wait, how old are the parents? Are
They're elderly. They don't give an age, but they're elderly.
Because
all go to
Because
retirement.
I feel like there's an emotional bias to keep your kid close.
Yeah.
But even with the in-home caregivers, I feel like it would still apply stress to the parents.
It could also be jeopardizing quality of care.
Quality of care.
And
So,
So like the parents are being sort of selfish, because they want to see their kid, rather than getting them the best sort of care.
you want
Then
them
if
to
you
have the
move
best
them all-
care.
If you move them all
So-
to the facility, they could all see each other, but then all be attended to for
Okay.
their needs.
Now, if you can't move the parents in, would you still go with
Yes.
go?
Yes.
Go with all of them. So specialized care for better care. Makes sense. Pop over here. This group.
We think Lisa should go to the residential care.
Residential care. So another one for specialized residential care facility. And what reason?
Because
One
I
point.
think, for the best, result for Lisa's best, for her, I think the care in the residential care facility will be much better. So even though Lisa's parents might have an opinion, it shouldn't get in the way of doing what's best for Lisa.
From all of these so far, I haven't heard an ethical consideration. I'm getting kind of a utilitarian vibe, like looking at different outcomes. But did anybody so far have she has the right to the best care? It was just for the best of Lisa personally, or a different ethical system? Yeah.
So we say that Mark has the duty to care for both her mental and physical health, and so he has to consider what she might have wanted if she was competent, and that could include staying at home to be with family, either to make her parents happy, which would in turn make her happy, or to make her directly happy. So that's why we picked in-home caregivers.
That makes sense? Yeah. Because you're considering in that case, I like the avenue there, specifically mental health as well as physical health. Okay. A lot of bubble writing. Excellent.
We would probably have caregivers come to the home.
Oh yeah.
Shall I object? No, I shall not. One second, where's my last color there? So, in-home caregivers.
Yeah, because if we sent her away, she would probably lose a lot of her rights, and she might need those rights or want those rights. And also, if you had the in-home caregivers, they could also care for her parents who are aging.
Someone daily checking on these elderly parents who, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how old they are, but they're not the proxies. So there's obviously something where they're not quite trustworthy.
Yeah, and if you put her in one of them homes, they probably don't care that much, and she probably has a lot less rights for care. So her personal well-being would be a lot less looked out for.
There is a lot of stories about facilities and care and how bad some of them can be.
Yeah.
I've already been told that I am the less important parent, so we're getting different homes, and Ms. Hanley's going to get the best one, and I'm going to go to one that they saw on the news. So, we did there. We've gone around the entire room. Any questions that have come up on your earlier discussion, pros and dangers and practicalities of proxy decision makers, or in this example, where you're wondering how it would work? Question, Zane? Okay, we'll go back to the notes. If you could pull them out, we'll do maybe another example after this. But we're going to consider now the legal case of Stephen Dawson, a 7-year-old boy. Poor Stephen Dawson.
Go away.
Peoples! Notes up. Karen, notes up. Piece of paper, pardon? Borrow a piece of paper from someone around you.
That's so cool.
This is kind of weird. That was encountered though when I said the word lend. Okay, we started it. We didn't finish it. Stephen Dawson case, 7-year-old boy, meningitis contracted after birth. That part we did. Severe brain damage. Meningitis is infection of the meninges of the brain, so it's the covering of your brain. So if that gets inflamed, of course, that's going to affect your mental development as your brain is growing. He now consistently makes too much cerebrospinal fluid, and that puts pressure in his brain. So they put a shunt at the base of his skull so that when the pressure is too high, it releases into his throat. And that's to ensure that there's not too much pressure there. High pressure to the brain can cause damage, and low pressure will give you nauseousness. Well, not nauseousness. It'll make you throw up without feeling nauseous. It'll just all of a sudden vomit. So brain pressure is important, and there's a variety of treatments for that. And the parents have decided not to renew the shunt. So this has happened. He's being cared for. Things get old and need to be replaced, and the parents have said, no, do not replace it.
I don't know if you already said what is a shunt?
So a shunt is like a valve or like a tap. What it does is when the pressure is high enough, it opens and lets the fluid drain out. This is from the British Columbia Supreme Court. I couldn't find any newer cases other than the next one. So we still talk about this in terms of our proxy decision making. And the reason they said no shunt, quality of life was low. His ability to be aware was low. Relatively pain-free status was non-existent. These are the qualities, and I've phrased it these way, because if you were looking through these criteria, these are what you'd look at for someone who is refusing treatment, particularly if there's a proxy. Do they have these things? If they do, they probably should continue getting treatment. They're physically comfortable, except he wasn't. Did he have any meaningful social interaction? No. In fact, in their own words, as perceived by the parents, the boy is legally blind. With atrophied optic nerves, partially deaf, incontinent. Does anybody not know what incontinent means? You can't hold your bladder, so that you have no choice over whether or not you go to the bathroom.
Can you scroll up for a second?
Will these PowerPoints be put on the Google Classroom for study purposes for fun? Or the
These are not Microsoft. You wound me, good sir.
whatever.
That's a whiteboard.
Oh.
That's a pedantic answer. Yes, I could put them up beforehand. Legally blind, partially deaf, cannot control when he goes to the bathroom, cannot hold a spoon to feed himself, cannot stand, walk, talk, or hold objects. As far as they can tell, he has no method of communicating with his environment. Is everybody okay if I go down one line? Anybody not okay if I go down? Let's go to there so I can get it home. And they think that he is in pain. He makes sounds too soft to be heard from any distance. Apparently he makes just a low keening sound if you're very, very close. He is subject to seizures, despite anti-seizure medication, essentially. And so this puts him in more pain. So the parents are saying we should not. So, on the basis of quality of life, sapient cognitive awareness is a fancy way of saying humans who can speak and talk to each other. We are Homo sapiens, so sapient, cognitive referring to your brain and being aware of the environment around you. How much pain are you in? Do you have a physically comfortable existence? And how much meaningful social interaction do you have? If you're in a lot of pain, and your quality of life might not be very high, but there are people you talk to every day and things that you look forward to, and you get together and people come and visit you. There might be more there, but as far as I can tell, there's none of this. In fact, it continues in another paragraph. He is restrained by splints, which are bandages on his arms, to keep his elbows straight. So he is constantly restrained like this. He cannot bend. If he could bend, he hits himself or rough handles his own face so that he gets injured continuously. So they can't stop him from doing that other than to restrain him.
Why would he do that? Just like, couldn't they just,
We can't communicate with him.
so why would they just, couldn't they just give him like big like rubber gloves or something, squishy gloves?
This is probably, I mean, yes, they have to do
It's
something.
like, wouldn't that maybe quality of life if he could at least maybe bend his arms?
I suspect, being his parents, they have thought of that, and it didn't work. I mean, if you have big rubber gloves and you're constantly hitting yourself in the face, you're still going to do damage. It's hard to do. Maybe he's in pain in his face more than the rest of his body. Maybe that just gives him a sensation, but he actively injures himself if given the opportunity. Not necessarily in a way that we can tell is deliberate, but he just doesn't have control over his actions. He does have a wheelchair. It has a special seat that's molded to fit his body exactly. So it's not like just a regular seat that you can sit up in. It's he's fitted into it so that he can be, secured with a variety of belts to make sure he can't fall out. And so in this particular case, let's give you actually I won't make you move around different groups. Talk in groups of about 3 or 4 on the table in the rows that you're in. What decision would you make and on what criteria? Your same row. Okay, that probably, hopefully shouldn't take you too long. On your attention?
Organism response. Like, it's like, he's like this, not conscious.
Excellent. There's great doubt whether or not he's conscious. So, do we grant the parents' permission, the parents' petition to not install the shunt and let nature take its course?
Yes.
Yes. Any groups disagree?
So does the shunt give him any relief or no?
It just prevents, if you don't install the shunt, the pressure will build on his brain until he falls unconscious, goes into a coma, and then eventually he'll die.
Would that be painful, that process though?
No more so than he's already in, and probably less painful because he would be unconscious.
Okay.
There is, when I said he would be unconscious, there is a mushroom on Vancouver Island and parts of the Lower Mainland. It's incredibly rare, but it does damage your ribosomes, the parts that make more ribosomes and enzymes in your cells. If you damage those, you can't make any more enzymes. So your body, if you eat that, is fine for a few days because you're running through all the enzymes you already have. And then slowly, well not slowly, and then after about 3 days, because that was the slow part, all of your cells start dying at once because they're running out of stuff. And then all your pain receptors fire up because every cell is dying. The only treatment is to put you in a medically induced coma so your screaming doesn't disturb everybody else until you die. There is no cure. That apparently has a nice nutty flavor. We know because people survive long enough to tell us what it tastes like. Yes?
I believe don't kill it with the shunt, just do it humanely,
That is an argument for our current program MAID, Medical Assistance in Dying. This is 1983. They do not have that option. The only thing that you have legally at this point is to refuse treatment. So all back to the principle of autonomy and respect for persons. If you give someone treatment but they don't consent, it's assault. So the doctors want to do the treatment because their job is to save lives, ease a life. The parents' job is to act as proxy decision makers, and they're like, we don't think Stephen would want this. So they're saying no. So, but yes, another process might be better, but unfortunately we just don't have that. Any other reasons? Excellent. You'd make a good BC Supreme Court. They didn't agree with you, though. They refused. Judge McKenzie, I do not think that it lies within the prerogative of any parent or of this court to look down upon a disadvantaged person and to judge the quality of that person's life as to be so low as not to be deserving of continuance. So the judge says nobody is allowed to decide against life. In other words, one cannot judge what is in their best interest, as it is impossible to compare their life to anyone else's, and the court decided in favor of the shunt, and it was court ordered and then installed. I have tried to find out what happened after that, I obviously the family is private. I think actually the names were even changed to keep Stephen Dawson, but I haven't found anything since then. What is the problem with this? What did this do in Canadian law? Or BC law?
It kind of makes it that proxies actually aren't in that much of control.
Yeah. And there's certain decisions now they can't make. And what right gets turned into a duty at this point?
The right of life.
Right of life. You have a right to life. A right means you can also say, I would not like that anymore. It turns that right into a duty. This part, though, is the telling part that ethically people have had the most problem with this. This look down upon, judge the quality of that person's life. What this suggested is that they are not supposed to use their own criteria. So the judge's words at the time were interpreted you can't look down upon someone. So you're using your own criteria to say, oh, that's a poor quality of life because you're in a lot of pain, and I wouldn't like a lot of pain, and an objective, reasonable person wouldn't want a lot of pain. So that's not. And they're like, no, can't use your own criteria. You have to use the incompetent person's criteria. And that's a huge amount of guesswork. So thank you, Judge Mackenzie. You made things just a little bit, I think, more difficult. However, there are strong reasons for this. I'll go over them afterwards. Does anyone know the strong reasons why judges are a little bit gun shy when it comes to things like whether or not someone can continue their life? Yeah.
Because like they could regret it.
They could regret it.
Because then, like, the judge could be, like, responsible for that person's death if it was viewed later that it was not the right choice.
Yeah. And remember all the way back to the beginning of the year when we were, like, pulling switches and railway tracks and operating on people and taking out organs and saving other people? Nobody usually likes pulling the lever and being responsible for deaths. And there's always that strong minority that are like, if I pull the lever, no matter which way it goes, I'm now responsible. If I do nothing, I'm not responsible. The judge makes a decision there. The judge feels responsible too. There's also some other ones, historical ones. If you know of some, let me know. Okay, so that's the landscape. Everybody has this down as much as they need.
How good would their parents' quality of life be?
Ooh. Thank you. You have led into the very next case. Because that is one of the continuous themes in here. Because the parents do have to take care of this person. Now, we wouldn't want someone to say like, oh, your quality of life is bad. And they're saying, no, don't kill me. So, but you get to because you don't, like, obviously that wouldn't work. However, the judge is imposing a duty on the parents that doesn't exist for most parents. And that is something as a society we do grapple with and don't grapple with well. If parents have a child who's born to them that requires more care than the average parent, that is just an accident of birth. How much do we penalize those parents and how much do we give them support so that we have a society where things are fair? Case of Eve and Mrs. Eve. Names have been changed. I'm going to go get my examples of expressive aphasia so you can understand what this is. And Ms. Sarah Scott. No, not that one. Yeah, maybe not. Where did Ms. Sarah Scott go? Maybe it's in the other file folder. Maybe it's on YouTube. She just posted an update 13 days ago.